The 2 Count, where comedy meets wrestling. Please comment, share, and like, and if you're watching the live stream, join us with your comments and questions. And now here are the hosts of The 2 Count, comedian John Russell, and wrestling broadcaster Big Ace.
Everybody, good to see you all on a Tuesday. Well, it's always a Tuesday, isn't it? We're always here on Tuesdays. But anyway, point being, I hope you're doing well out there. I am doing okay. How about you, Ace?
Yeah, I'm hanging in there.
I'm glad to hear it. I've taken a couple of hobbies. One of them is on Twitter. I just make posts. I don't want to get political, but I just make posts, and it's always the same post, and it's just a one guy. Anyway, has nothing to do with anything. All right. So wrestling. Well, we've got a great list this evening. A list of the top finishers ever that we feel, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. There is, and if you want to put your list together, of course, by all means, do that while we're talking. Think of what might be your top favorite finishers. And these are singles wrestlers only that we're talking about. So we'll be happy to take your suggestions, comments as we go through that list, as well as any time during the show. So there's been several things happen. One of the biggest things that's happened this particular week in wrestling is Zelina Vega got fired, and basically, my understanding is she went on, started up her Twitch stream, and got notice that they fired her. I think that was it.
It was already out before that.
Was it?
Yeah, when she restarted the Twitch, like she had like I think hours before or the day before it broke that they had let her go.
Oh,
it was directly over her OnlyFans, which I don't, it is what it is. Like she tested the waters. Obviously, this is how they're going to handle it. I guess it said that they're looking for like a graphic designer right now, WWE, because they are looking at tying in Twitch channels to their contracts now, but they're going to have them like all produced and stuff. So
yeah,
I've seen that that's something that was going on. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think the more interesting part about that, just because when she opened the OnlyFans, whatever, it was like a week ago now, 2 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember. My memory's not great. It was kind of like, okay, she's obviously not going to be lasting very much longer in WWE, just because you knew that this was what was going to happen. But the more interesting part is seeing that after all that, like it was being said that Aleister Black asked to go back to NXT, and they've denied that.
Yeah.
So that's where someone's paying, which I don't see him probably staying.
No, once his contract's gone, he'll go.
So it's. I mean, we knew this was coming, but now we're actually seeing it. And the one thing too is she was tweeting like unionizing stuff.
Yeah.
Also before, so that was also another thing. And now I guess it's someone like the SAG president is going to look into how they can put wrestlers, which is a huge thing. It's hilarious because I think like a month ago now, Wes and I did a show where he said that. I asked him, "Do you see a union for wrestlers ever happening?" And he said, "No. I think we should be considered like SAG, like actors."
Yeah.
And it was like, yeah, you should be.
So
that's interesting. So it'll be interesting to see how this all ends up playing out for WWE.
One of the things I thought was very, very interesting was that a report came out that there are some talent that make more on Twitch and they're outside than they do with the WWE contract at this point.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And I got to think Zelina is one of them.
Oh, most definitely. You don't unless you're a top guy, you're not making bank. You're not, you're still. And again, too, they're independent contractors, so they're paying for their rental cars. They're paying for their hotels.
Yeah.
Only a few get. I mean, even the ones that get buses, half of them are paying for the bus. Not all of them have that in their contract. Like, you got to be a top guy to kind of get any kind of like travel accommodations if you're in WWE. But the majority of the rosters, that's all out of pocket.
Yeah.
They get the flight where they come in, they get, in the car, they go to the hotel or show, and then they hit the road for whatever until they come back. What the interesting thing now, though, is I guess it's being said that they're saying in WWE that once this is all done, this pandemic, the virus is all just finally over, that they're not going back on the road. House shows are going to be done.
Wow.
So that was interesting to me. Because,
yeah,
I mean, the last few years before all this pandemic mess, I mean, WWE house shows were struggling.
Yeah, definitely.
Attendance at some of those. I mean, I went to somewhere you could tell they were struggling to sell tickets, and you got there and it was like, yeah, not their best. But then I went to a show on Easter Sunday, and then it was packed.
Yeah.
So, it's weird, but like, it's hidden, and they're hidden towns too and I get it. You really look at the future of events and concerts. It's not going to be the same. It's not going to be normal. There's going to be added measures to make sure people are safe, because even if there's these vaccines, whatever ever happens in these next couple months with this virus happens, but it's not going to be just overnight. Everything's back to normal.
Nothing's going to be anywhere close to back to normal.
So you
until the summer.
Right. So you got to, that's at the least.
Yeah.
My opinion. I think we got another year of just getting back on track. But so you got to think all these arenas are going to have to pay extra for the cleaning, to have the extra security and staff there to make sure people are being social, all this stuff because again, we don't know what these shows are going to look like when they finally do start to happen again, whenever that may be. So does it pay to be, at this venue where you're going to sell 50-60% of it?
Yeah.
Struggle to sell your like majority, that's the other thing. It's cheap. You can here in Rochester, you've been in Rochester at the Civic Center, where in southern Minnesota where I'm located. You're just north of me right now, but I mean, the nosebleeds in that little arena are fine.
Yeah,
and they're $15 when WWE's here for a house show. I mean, the cheapest entertainment. It just shows though nobody's watching the product. That's what it was showing.
Right.
Because that's super cheap live entertainment in a town where there's a lot of families but it's not the 90s. It's not the early 2000s where it was on this mega, stage. It's just not like that. So it's weird. It's weird to think they're going to stop touring. I've always enjoyed a good house show. It's a more intimate feel as a fan, I think.
Yeah. I always felt like a house show it has a better flow to it than if you go to a televised show, because you don't have to wait for all the breaks. You don't have to go through all the video packages and all that crap. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's nothing like being at a pay-per-view, but it's not as you're there because you're part of the pay-per-view. You're not there because it's entirely entertaining. House shows where you don't have to wait for anything, where it's constant, it's going. Those are fun. And I don't know. I would always rather go to a house show than a pay-per-view, honestly.
Well, the nice things about house shows is, especially if you're close to the ring, that's where you get that interaction.
Right.
With the actual talent. That's where they really play off the crowd. I've been to numerous shows where we've gotten yelled at by talent while they're in the ring. I've told the story before where CM Punk called me a fat ass and was pointing at me the whole time he was in the ring. And the last time I went to a house show here was that Easter show, and we had front row. And those house shows are the only times that the talent takes the time and goes around and takes pictures and signs autographs. And, so I got my picture with Becky and everything that night.
Yeah.
So they're special. They're a cool feel, I get it though. The overhead for WWE to put them on probably isn't worth it. Probably won't be worth it for a while. Even though they still, made a lot of money this year somehow.
Yeah.
But
but
they were in such dire need that they had to fire a bunch of people. But
interesting.
We're going to be coming out positive on that. But
yeah,
I think the big thing right now is, what are they going to do for Royal Rumble? Where is it going to happen? Is it going to happen in the Thunderdome? Because man, that's the one show that you need the crowd. And I'm sorry, but I can't deal with the piped in
the piped in crap
30 times on the pay-per-view. Like, even if you have to do it like they do the whole NXT show now, where it's very limited, but there's people there and they're at least loud enough to fill that void, then do that. But that, or you better let all the talent who's not going to be in it and not on the card be out there, all the NXT talent. And again, I maybe let them bring family and friends. But I'll do something. Like, it's just going to be weird, no crowd.
I'll tell you, I feel like that's that's one of the things that AEW has absolutely beaten the tar out of WWE with, is the use of their non-working talent. And I don't know why at this point WWE doesn't want to do that. I mean, obviously they tried to do it with the plexiglass.
Well, you know what I think what it is they at this point they want to keep, because they've had quite a few outbreaks at the Performance Center.
Oh yeah.
So I think they're trying to keep main talent away from the Performance Center now, and I think they're trying to keep the people who are constantly in the Performance Center separated from them now. I know they got the plexiglass, but I think he feels they've got enough heat with these numerous breakouts at the Performance Center that I don't think he wants to risk it. Although they still let fans in at the Performance Center.
I don't know. All right. So let's talk about let's pop up. Hey Mike, good to see you. They really did, didn't they? They really did, and it really added to the atmosphere for me. And I still take offense when AEW pipes in stuff like, "This is awesome." It's like, no, there's nobody there. Only an idiot knows that there's nobody there.
Right.
You know? And it's like, you don't tell me whether it's awesome or not. Don't tell me, you fight forever. Well, no, you're going to fight until the time that they're supposed to be done. I'm not with that. But yeah, AEW, such a huge addition to the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's definitely helped. Mike, welcome, Mike. Big Malice right there, buddy. You guys can check him out in the Iowa area wrestling. Phenomenal wrestler. He's had some really cool matches I've gotten to watch. So he's going to be on the show eventually. We were talking before we went on live tonight. So he actually gave me his list too. But yeah, he's going to come on a show with us one of these weeks here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know who was in charge of coming up with their presentation, but gosh, it's great. It really is. All right. So let's talk about unfortunate things that happened to poor Chelsea Green.
That girl that's just a tough break. Like twice now.
Yeah.
Twice now that she's like debuted and then got instantly hurt.
I mean, and literally instantly.
And at this point, they haven't really been handling these call-ups from the NXT women's division to the main roster, because she got called up. Rhea Ripley got called up quick and now is back. Bianca Belair we're finally starting to see, but they've called up a couple other, I believe, that we haven't yet. Was it Vanessa Bourne, I think, got called up? We haven't seen her since.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, it sucks to see that happen because who knows where she's going to end up when she comes back. But man, yeah, because she was going to be on the Survivor Series team too this weekend, right?
Yeah. It's really unfortunate, and it's. I don't know. I kind of, you sort of wonder. Oh yeah, absolutely, Dan. I will say the thing that happened last week during the MJF acceptance or whatever you want to call it, when all the Blues went just tear assing out of there. I mean, that was pretty funny. That was hilarious.
Yeah, the cool thing with them letting the fans come in was I don't think we talked about it, but the bigger crowd at Full Gear was very noticeable on that paper.
Yeah,
it really gave it a good feel, and I'll be the first to say it, and I think we both could probably be the first to say, being that we're in one of the hot spots. you do got to be careful. So like, I understand why we can't go around here. I do get that, but man, it's just nice. It's hard to have wrestling. It's a live performance. It needs an audience. You know what I mean?
Well, I can tell you, and we've talked about this too. As far as being a performer myself and doing comedy, right? Doing comedy on a live stream is absolutely crap compared to doing it in front of a live audience. You got to have that interaction, and as a performer, and maybe Malice can agree with this, without that interaction, without that fan energy, without people participating, man, it's really sometimes hard to keep yourself up at that level, to keep yourself pumped up.
Dude, I always felt like that doing radio.
Yeah.
I always felt like when I was doing those weekend shifts and it was just me, and it was top 40 radio and I wasn't the morning show. So, I mean, I was only getting 30 seconds to 60 seconds every like 15 minutes to actually talk.
Yeah.
Where I could do any kind of bit or anything. But I mean, man, it was always hard because it's like I'm someone that I need, and I've realized this over the years. I do better with crowds in front of me or people in front of me listening when I'm doing anything. And yeah, like you said, you draw from that crowd too.
Yeah.
JR, you were there when I had like probably the best reaction to me doing stand up that I ever got in a short brief time.
Yeah.
Like one night where like it went really well for me. You were there.
Yeah.
I mean, man, that was such a high. I was like, when I came off, it was like, oh my God, did you see that? You got that on tape, right? No. Yeah, that's how it goes.
It was an accident.
No, it was hilarious.
No, you were doing well. So I did. No, the thing is too, and I can say this from a point of stand up, and there's certainly a difference because the venues are not the same. I've done some shows, and I can say as a performer, yeah, exactly. But as a performer, you go, and now I haven't done a show in a month, right? And the last show I did was in front of 16 people, so it was great. And it actually was because those 16 people. What?
It's like an open mic night.
Well, it was. But here's the thing. So now when you go out to do this stuff, right? And literally, I thought so on that one. I was scheduled for 3 different shows. One was in Wisconsin, one was here in Minneapolis, and one was out in South Dakota. The one in Wisconsin was canceled because that's when the outbreak was kicking back up again. The one in Minneapolis, they had sold 25 tickets, which was capacity. So if that gives you an idea, 16 people showed up, even if they bought tickets, but they all wanted to be there. And then the one out in South Dakota got canceled as well. As a performer, I felt safe because I'm not like right there in them. You know what I mean? And so in that regard, when you're wrestling, then people want to be right up close. But a comedy, it's like church. They'd prefer to be back as far away as they possibly can, which, I mean, I guess it doesn't really make that much difference. But I felt safe. And the people that were there were able to separate themselves in their groups far enough away where they felt safe. See, that's the key. It's like we can do all this stuff, and promotions can put on shows, but if people aren't comfortable coming to it, and they're not comfortable in how the setup is, or they don't know what the setup's going to be, they're going to say no. And so, for example, right now with AEW, when they show the crowd, it's like, oh yeah, those people are, there's definitely enough room for them to be far enough away, yet still feel safe and still feel like they're part of the show, And that, I mean, and of course, WWE has gone exactly the opposite way. I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't watched NXT to see what it looks like since they started doing live shows.
So I'll give NXT credit. It's good. It comes off good, and it's loud because they have, well, now it's the plexiglass, but they also have chain link fence because it's that CWC or whatever they call it.
Oh, yeah.
So like when people are hitting it, it's loud. You know what I mean? Like super loud. Hey, what's up, Chris? Welcome.
Hi, Chris. Good to see you, buddy.
glad to hear everything went all good for you, bro, and your puppers. So, but yeah, man, like it's loud, and it's not a lot of people, but it's enough that it's not a big place, so it's loud.
Yeah.
So it comes off well, and like like we said, AEW, it's great that the fans have a chat. Like I wish I was in Jacksonville just so I could go.
Oh, dude.
Oh man, it'd be fun to just go.
I would go every week.
Yeah. Oh, and that's such a great deal. It was like what, $150 for like 6 weeks of shows.
Yeah.
If you were down there for their little season pass, like, oh, that's great. Yeah. And now I'm glad you said that because Malice, you're right. Because I do dig that like NXT has like an underground feel, and it's like that's what I think they were what they should have tried to do with Raw Underground. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. NXT, they seem to always do like top themselves, even when times are rough. They're struggling with the pandemic over there. Yeah, I know. I need to go down there now that we're getting like the colder weather. He's like, you gotta come down here and hang out. So I might have to do that, but yeah. But yeah, so like it's a great deal though that they're doing for the fans down there. I mean, that's a steal.
Well, isn't it now? Did I just see? And I don't know, as I see stuff so fleetingly here this last week. Did I just see that they were selling shows for this week's for tomorrow were like $30?
Oh yeah, probably. They've been doing that. Like they've been you could buy a day of, I think.
Yeah, I mean $30 for that'd be great.
And you gotta think you're getting Dynamite. And then you're getting all of Dark, and Dark's like 2.5 hours right now.
What have they been? They're like 12,
14 matches of Dark. I feel like it's crazy, which is funny because when you say like when you're like they use the talent that wasn't being used very well, AEW, it's like, well, that's just it though. They're actually being used. You just gotta watch Dark to see
all the people that are on Dark are around the ring.
Right,
with the exception of Pineapple Pete. I miss Pineapple Pete.
Gone. Yeah, he's gone. Although, interesting enough, he'll be on the cruise announced today.
Well, maybe that's something. We're not.
I know we're not. I know it's still sad.
You feel bad.
It's Again, out of a whole year of weekends, just one they couldn't pick, and that's one they. It's so crazy. It's just so freaking crazy. But yeah, they made some more announcements for that today. So I think was it the Midnight Express is going to be there?
Oh,
some other stuff that didn't really
trip your trigger.
Don't remember. Yeah, I don't.
Well, you don't care because you're not going now.
No, I still care because I'm like, I want to be there so bad.
Yeah.
But the thing that stood out. Oh, sorry, Rock and Roll Express. You're right, Dan. But it really stood out to me that it was like, oh, they're bringing Pineapple Pete back just for the cruise. That's interesting.
Maybe he's going to be like the.
Well, because it didn't. I don't remember seeing if it said if he was wrestling or if he was going to like do something else. Because they made it sound like he does other things, like he's going to be an entertainer on the boat. It'd be interesting to see because if he does come and he wrestles, I don't think he's affiliated with AEW anymore, and I thought he went somewhere else.
Oh,
or no, he was on WWE as like an extra. That's what it was.
Okay.
You remember? I don't know if you saw it, but he was actually in Raw Underground.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, there's a couple of times he was actually outside the ring. One of the people like screaming.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was crazy that he went from like there to there. And what's crazy too is now you're hearing that WWE's going after some of these dark talent that aren't getting like long contract signed.
Yeah.
From AEW if they can. So yeah, man, this whole wrestling just climate's going to be interesting, but
it's very, very weird, strange. Yeah. Also, in where are we at time wise? You know what? Why don't we go ahead and start with our list, and then we'll cover a couple other things with AEW when we come back. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So those of you that are newer to the show, every week we try to do a little rundown, a little ranking, and this week are the top finishers, what we've deemed the top finishers, and Ace will have his list. I'll have mine. We've got some honorable mentions. If you'd like to throw in comments as we go along, certainly feel free to do that. So here we are with this week's big list, top finishers. Alrighty, and let's see here. Our first Zoom with yours says the whole cruise is booked, just not announced. Oh yeah,
Nice.
perfect.
Nice.
Perfect.
Yes. You know, like the day they get off that boat, or just the day that they sail and they finally open the next pre-signups for the waiting list or for the pre-sale.
Yeah.
Like I'm on it. Like,
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
I'm on it, just so we can get our spot back. But
all right, so our list of top finishers, and these are let you know again, these are single wrestlers, no tag teams, and what we tried to do is we tried to make sure that we picked ones that were well known for one wrestler, correct? Not one that everybody uses all of a sudden. So we'll start with honorable mentions. And my first honorable mention is Baron von Raschke with the Iron Claw. Now, some of you say, wow, that's not much. But here's the thing. Back when Baron von Raschke was very prominent in the late 70s, the Iron Claw was a submission move. And if he could get that on you, you were not getting out of it. And let me tell you, after having done it to my sister several times, I know that it actually hurts like hell, because she would cry when I did it. And if you get it in the right spot, that right there is a hell of a closer, and it will make you tap out. So that's my number one honorable mention.
I love Baron, dude. That guy's so nice.
Oh my God, yes. And he's still around kicking. He was a judge at House of Comedy's comedy contest the last time. So
I saw him almost drop a puppy once from the ring. It was hilarious. He was like, because he was signing autographs at a show that we did at a local bar. And, we had there was a pet drive going on with us too. Like, so they were a sponsor, I guess.
Absolutely. Iron Claw, you got it, man.
He went into Promo to tell people to adopt the pets, and they tried to hand him the dog when he got in, and he's old at this point. He was old, and this is years ago. And like he totally just like fumbled the dog, like literally almost dropped it from like mid rope all the way down to the parking lot, like cement.
Yikes!
Everybody's just like,
dogs are flexible. He did fine.
Yeah, it was right. He would have just rolled.
Yeah. All right. Here is your first honorable mention.
Yeah, the pop-up power bomb. I just like when Kevin Owens does it. I think he throws it down mean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think like that's a move that can easily just be done in a transition of a match.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a finisher.
Yeah,
but I think he just delivers it so well.
Absolutely,
and I'm all for that.
All right, my next honorable mention is the Blackout by Lance Archer / Lance Hoyt. Now here's the thing: it's honorable mention. I love the fact because here's the thing: it needs a little bit of help from the fellow that's getting it done, right? I mean, like, okay, a lot of help from the guy that's having it done to him. But the problem is as cool as it looks and as neat as it is, every time that he's done this in AEW that I've seen, it's been a smaller guy like a Marco Stunt or a guy that's smaller because I mean, I'd like to see him try it with a Brian Cage, but I just got a feeling that it's not something that can be done. Although he's strong as hell, that's the reason it's not up higher on my list because I just haven't seen him do it to anybody of any size.
I bet Cage could do it with him. Cage is one of those.
Yeah, he's really athletic.
That's what I was gonna say. He's like a freak athletic dude.
Yeah. All right, here's your next honorable mention.
Yeah, the One Wing Angel, Kenny Omega, man, it's just a tight move, man.
It is. It is easy to do, and to be honest, there's a bit of danger involved.
Mm-hmm. Anything when you're going down on your head and neck, it's like there's a risk.
Yeah,
anything is a risk. But
all right. So, and my final honorable mention is Sergeant Slaughter's Cobra Clutch. Now, I got to tell you, I like this for again, a lot of my stuff is old school, but this was a submission hold, and the fact that the man, he's doing it to Randy Orton there, which is probably from one of his gimmicky things. But the point is that that's
bro.
What?
He's the legend killer.
I know he is. But anyway, the point is this, that Cobra Clutch looks like it would actually hurt.
Yeah, right.
If somebody actually did that to you, it'd probably hurt like hell. All right. Here comes your final honorable mention.
Yeah, man. The rock bottom. So I don't think I did any submission moves. And the only reason I didn't do that is I started thinking about them. And then I was like, I just feel like we're going to end up doing a top like submission move list eventually. So I kind of just left him off for that. But I mean, Rock's one of my top guys ever.
Yeah.
Top 3 easy for me. Rock bottom, such a great move. We talked about our favorite pay-per-views last year, and when he kicked up and then threw the rock bottom on Cena while Cena was about to do the people's elbow on him at Mania 20. I mean, it was beautiful. It was great.
Yeah. There's Dan honorable mention. Scott Steiner before Big Papa Pump. Yeah. Frankensteiner off the top rope. It is a hell of a move. You're right. I don't think he used it as a finisher, but very impressive for a fella of Steiner's size.
Right. Definitely.
Absolutely. All right. So my number 3 top move of all times, the Razor's Edge or Outsider's Edge. Say what you will about Scott Hall, but that was a pretty cool move to me when he started doing it. Nobody was doing anything like it at the time. It came off okay. So that's my number 3. And your number 3?
Yeah, man, I went with Taker with the Tombstone Piledriver. I mean, it's just iconic. I mean, that whole finish and pin is just it's just a legendary thing, you know. Drop the Tombstone Piledriver on, fold those arms up, 3 count with the eye roll at the end. I mean, it's just that so many of his matches ended that way.
And the tongue out. The tongue out's important.
And the tongue out, yeah. I mean, it's just iconic. It really is. And it's just a mean move. I mean, as a little kid, I'd see him do that, and I'm like, oh, he's driving him on his head. He's killing him. You know, it's just, man, it's just the thing with Taker is there's so many lists that he can somehow be involved in.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude's just a true legend. Like, there's not many like him. Absolutely.
Hall, guys, you know what? We went through a underrated list not long ago, and I believe he was on one of our lists, I think. Hey, Scott Hall. Yeah. Scott Hall, unfortunately his demons got the better of him there towards the end. And I think that kind of held him back quite a bit. My number 2 best finishing move, the Iron Sheik's Camel Clutch. I don't care what you say, and other people have used something similar. I mean, Scott Steiner had the Steiner recliner, Rusev's whatever it is, Machka lock or whatever. I don't know what it's called anymore. But the Iron Sheik is the one that originated this thing. And look at this. I mean, it looks like it is definitely a painful hold, and that's again one where if you don't get cooperation with your dance partner, that's going to hurt.
Yeah.
But the Sheik, my God,
he breaks backs and makes people humble. I mean,
he does, Jabroni. Okay, so here's your number 2.
Oh, the Sheik, that guy's hilarious. My number 2, I mean, is Stone Cold Stunner. I mean, it's just again, like Rock, like, and even things that didn't make it. Like, obviously, I wasn't gonna be like Hogan's leg drop should be on my list of favorite finishers because it's not. It's a leg drop. Like, it's just whatever. But his whole Hulk up to pin, that whole thing's just an iconic move set. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so is for Stone Cold. I mean, when he was on top, I mean, that was it. Everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Stunner. And it's been cool to see Kevin Owens kind of bring it back. It's just fun to see that. But yeah, and to be honest, this was almost number 1 for me.
I got to tell you, I used that Stunner is awesome. Absolutely. Hit it on anybody, anytime. In fact, that's the reason that I used that photo. I'm popping up again there quick because he's doing it to Roddy Piper, for God's sakes. And he didn't care who it was. That was a beautiful thing about that move.
No, he did it to like Linda and Stephanie. When he did it to like the fabulous Moolah, like that's hilarious. I mean, I know it should be.
Absolutely.
Give a damn. It was great.
All right. My number one finishing move, at least today, is the Go to Sleep by CM Punk. Now, the reason that I chose this is because as I was thinking about all these other moves, I think about the fact that that's like really quick, impactful, and that's The Rock. And look at The Rock's face, you know? It's like, it looks like if it was a legitimate move, and it could be a legitimate move, it would definitely be able to put you out.
Yeah, that's mean. What, him and then Hideo Itami. Remember his name.
Asuka uses something similar at this point, but it's not her closer.
Right. Yeah.
It is.
It's a sick move.
It is.
So like you said, it can kind of come out of nowhere. It's quick, it's impactful, and that's what kind of led me to my number one, just because, yeah, man, out of nowhere. Plus, it has kind of taken its own persona on. I mean, like,
yes, it has.
See it to go on social media and just people who probably don't watch wrestling, but just are pop culture people, like doing RKO out of nowhere videos. You know, it's a sick move, man. It comes out. The thing is, the transitions, like, he can do it literally out of anything, and he's proven that over years, and that's why that move keeps like, it never gets old.
Yeah,
it's always evolving because he just always finds new ways to hit it. And to me, it's just, and I'm not even that big of an Orton guy, but like, I was like, dude, the RKO's got to be number one. Because I love seeing it every time.
Never got to go to sleep in a bar fight.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm
so bummed that Waterloo didn't happen this year, Malice. I'm so bummed. I hope it goes down this next year.
I was gonna say DDT Diamond Cutter, absolutely. That's a good one.
Yeah, man. Malice actually earlier today sent me his favorite finishers. He didn't know we were doing it by guy, so he
cool. That's okay.
Yeah, his was the stunner, gore, and top rope elbow.
So I'm assuming the gore by Rhino, which that's from a thick guy like that, that's a good closer. And I'm assuming you're talking about the Macho Man from the top rope.
I mean, you can go either on that. Macho Man, Michaels did it. Didn't Guerrero do it sometimes? I mean, but yeah, I think Macho Man is like, yeah. That the one when he hit the RKO on was it Evan Bourne, I think, at that time, Matt Sydal, dude, that thing was sick. You know what I mean? Yeah, but like, man, Orton just hits it out of so many crazy things. Like, it's so just.
Well, to be fair to Dan, you know, the Diamond Cutter, he hit out of everywhere too, because I know you weren't such a big WCW guy.
He did, but the thing is, like, athletically wise, it was more pleasing on the eyes when you watch Randy Orton hit it so seamlessly and smoothly. Where, Diamond Dallas Page hit it too, but Diamond Dallas Page was also in his like 40s and 50s at that time, so the body didn't move as well. It was a little more clinky clonky. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude.
Love the lethal edge.
Well, dude,
Flair.
The only reason it didn't get on there is because I said I was going to wait on submissions till we do a submissions list.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was going to put Flair on there with that.
Oh God, yeah. Rhino looked like he was trying to run straight through everybody.
It's just amazing. Like, that's just a whole lot of dude coming at you.
Oh yeah.
It's not going to feel good. But I mean, there's the F5 Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a great one too. I don't think it's his finisher, but he's just known for it. But I mean, his suplexes were great. The angle slam has always been a favorite.
There was man, just trying to go through and think of everything, because you know me, I always try to go and think back older, because I know some of it you don't have the knowledge of.
Yeah, when you get like past like or further on, like 85, I start getting a little bit lost.
There was a guy, and his name, I think he wrestled in Central States. And just so you know, Malice, I grew up in Des Moines, and I'm old, so I watched Central States out of Kansas City. That's where I first got my love for wrestling. There was a fella named the Turk, and he would stick out this knuckle and rotate it into the temple. And I can't remember if it put him to sleep or if it was, I don't think it was a submission, but it was the weirdest looking thing. The other thing too, there you go. Beautiful. I love it. Judas effect. Absolutely. That's a lot of people think that's a good one. I don't know. It's just a back elbow.
You know, I mean, it's like he commits to it and it still comes up like, ooh, that would take a back elbow. Cause you remember when Cena went to China for like 6 months and like did a Jackie Chan movie. And then when he came back, he brought this brand new finisher and it was that really just stupid punch.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
When it came back with the Judas effect and that was what it was, it'd have been like, but like he throws it good. He throws like actually,
absolutely.
Was it during him and MJF at Full Gear? Like he hit it pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Like it was a good spot. So
pretty, yeah. There was. I mean, there's so much more. I mean, things that we didn't have. I mean, the mandible claw, for gosh sakes. Could have been on that list, but there's just so many. I mean, there's good finishers and guys that have developed them and made them iconic. I guess that's what we kind of were aiming at.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's cool. Like you said, mandible claws. I mean, Mick Foley, Mankind, so great. But like, it's great seeing Bray Wyatt bring it back as mean. You know what I mean? Old time hard punch. Yeah.
So was it hard? Was it so? Was the hard punch was Ox Baker, right, Dan? I think it was either Ox Baker. No, now here I'm trying to, because I just think of all this stuff and this old stuff pops into my head. I think it was Ox Baker versus Ernie the Big Cat Ladd. And Ox Baker had the heart punch and he hit him not once, but twice. And then all hell broke loose. The announcers went crazy. Everyone went crazy because he's gonna hit him again. And Ox Baker, I like to hurt people. Boom, hit him and I just, oh my God. I wonder if I can find that. Of course, I'd love to be able to find stuff and show it to you from the olden days, the olden times, you know. But the problem is, anytime we try to show anything, we get pulled down. So we can't do that.
Yeah, we don't got that clout yet.
I don't the clout. We have zero clout, but we have a good time.
Hey, we appreciate all of our listeners. And guys, make sure you share our show. We do this every Tuesday night live, 8:00 Central. So, you know, make sure you share it with all your wrestling friends. Malice, let all the IPW people know we're coming for them. We want all you guys on the show.
We should have an IPW exclusive show one time.
We're going to. I know one Mr. Jim Jeffries. We need to get with him and do a pre-record with him for 1 week when we may have one. But yeah, man, there's a bunch of people down there that we've already had a couple, or maybe not a couple.
We had one fella on.
Was Maddie the only one we've had on so far? I think
so.
Yeah,
that's right.
But I've been trying to get Malice on for a while, and he knows that. So we're gonna make that one happen for sure soon. So whenever he's good to go. But yeah, man.
And here, just maybe this will swing the Malice our way. Malice, we're willing to pay you double what we pay anybody else.
That's big bucks, bro. But yeah, man, that was a good list. We'll have to figure out another list. We can say that at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Something else that was going on that I kind of want to, and I'm curious just because I know Malice is watching right now, so maybe he can give his opinion. But did you happen to read the article from the interview with Cody Rhodes where he was talking about why he took that chair shot to the head from Sean Spears, and he was trying to, I guess, bring back head shots with chairs, something to that matter?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, but times two.
Right.
Times two
or zeros, bro. So I'm just curious, like, and I guess he said that, like, yeah, you know, I was wrong for that. Like, headshots shouldn't happen. But it was also talked about how, I guess, Sean Spears, like, Moxley and Tony Khan both were like kind of getting after Spears after that happened that night and going off on him, kind of like, you did it wrong. And Moxley was like showing him like, this is how you're supposed to do it and all this. But like, but what I'm wondering though, like chair shots to the head, because I've seen firsthand front row, I've seen Malice take a pretty brutal chair shot to the head that like even made me like worried. So that's my question is like, to me, I don't need to see, don't get me wrong, if the people in the ring want to do it, I'm not also going to turn away. You know, I've bought tickets to CZW. It is what it is. I'll watch whatever's going on in the ring. I don't need it though. You know what I mean? Like a headshot at least. I'm always down for chairs. I do, but you know, you're very old school.
Yeah.
I'm pretty old school myself. You know, and back in those days, you would see those shots come to the heads. Do you feel that that's missing now? Do you feel like that's something that like it should come back, or are you like, what's your take on that? Are you fine? You know, right? Yeah.
So
and
yeah, I was just saying. So here's
and I don't need it, but I'll watch it. And
here's my opinion as an older guy and an older fan. All right. So back. And way back before people were as athletic and doing the moves that they do now, right? So back in the late 70s, maybe even into the early 80s, where it was a more grappling style, it was more similar to amateur wrestling. Okay, a chair shot, any kind of outside use of a weapon. I mean, you would never ever think of a kendo stick being brought in, right? When it came in, it meant a lot more. You know what I'm saying? It's like, man, he must really be pissed. He hit him with a chair. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, and we've talked about this, it's like if you don't see a chair at least once every week on AEW, you think there's something wrong. You know, it's kind of to the point where, and I get it, because as a performer myself, I know, okay, I want to do this, and this seems to be the trend. So I want to do my version of this. And I understand that. But I think for me, again, as an old school guy, it makes it not as meaningful, if that makes sense. I don't know, man. That one with The Rock,
was it match? Yeah, when he got cuffed.
Was it 6 or 8?
It was brutal.
It was too many.
But that's just it. When I look back at it and I say it's brutal, I still love it.
At the time,
I think I'm just more hip to the whole like CTE's a real thing. And
yeah,
that can really mess you up if it's not done properly.
I don't know.
So that's why I'm saying I don't need it. As far as like, if talent don't want to ever do it, that's fine. I know my boy Malice don't mind, and I enjoy watching him go to town in the ring. And I appreciate when he does those kind of things. Like I said, it still makes me lose my breath for a second when I'm like, holy crap, is he dead? But man, yeah, it's
absolutely.
Yeah, you're right. And yeah, it's just, I was just really curious on what your take was going to be on that. Cause I remember when they outlawed chair shot or headshots, and a lot of things involving heads, like, was it like a pile driver or like a small package? I remember when those were things, and it was like, oh, what? Getting soft, WWE, getting soft wrestling. What are you doing? So it was just kind of a surprise, especially being the heavy involvement between Tony Khan, AEW, and the NFL, where CTE is a priority over there now. That's serious now.
I'll tell you this. I mean, obviously, some of these things that have been banned are kayfabe bans, right? Like I remember.
Well, no, but like the headshots with WWE wasn't. That was.
Oh, no. That part I get, but some of it, like pile drivers used to be banned in the 70s. They would ban them because that's what the guy's move was. So they'd ban it, and then he'd do it. And that was a thing like with Lawler down in Mid-South. The pile driver was banned, so we'd do it, and then Kaufman would win. They even did the bannings of some of these things for a reason in kayfabe. And then when they did it, it just meant that much more. And to me, like when I watch these shows, it doesn't, it's the meaning is lost somewhat, because it's like, to be honest, it's like when somebody says fuck, right? If you talk with somebody and they use fuck like a comma, right? The word means literally nothing. But if your mother all of a sudden says it, well, then you know she's serious. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because it's like, wow, that doesn't happen. But anyway, having said that, I don't know. I just
how you felt though on like things that were legitimately like, we don't allow this anymore, and then someone trying to bring it back like that, like, you know, like and again, I was just really curious about it too, because I wonder what that conversation went like, where he's like, no, I want to take the headshot. Yeah. Right? Exactly. Yeah, like that was, and he used in one. You know what I mean? When I said the pile driver though, and I could be wrong on if it was the pile driver, but there was a specific finisher that like WWE stopped letting talent.
Package pile driver, they wouldn't let him do.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was talking legit. I'm not talking kayfabe at all. I'm talking things that they were like, this is not allowed anymore. Do not do this, or you're fined, or you're gonna lose your job.
Well, they stopped letting him do buckle bombs because Sting got ended.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that storied WWE career that never was for Sting. Man, it was just not meant to be for him in WWE. It really wasn't.
I don't think so.
Really, really wasn't. But yeah, man. Otherwise, we got Survivor Series this weekend. So
that's this weekend.
That is this weekend. One of the big four. So again, to me, it's always it's more sad when we have a big four happen, and this is where we're at. No fans or nothing, but yeah, man, too many neck injuries.
Absolutely.
You know, get serious down there now. So again, we talked about this quickly. I'll run down the card for you, and then we can get out of here. But a different feel to Survivor Series this year, but not NXT not being involved. And I think a lot of people upset over this. I think NXT upset over this. Last year just had a really cool feel. Now, again, though, do we know if NXT was going to be involved last year if the whole being held up in Saudi Arabia didn't happen? Because if anybody remembers, that's how that all really...
That's right.
Storyline began, is because they had to use all those NXT talents at SmackDown because everybody was still stuck in Saudi Arabia. So maybe that was just a one-off, but yeah, this year we got Raw versus SmackDown only. I don't know. To me, these shows, when they do it like this, it just interrupts storylines. You know what I mean? And it just makes it hard. Like back in the day, like in the 80s, and when they first started doing this, like they carried those storylines on. Like if Hogan and $1 Million Man were feuding, okay, they're captains. Go get 3-4 other guys and make your team.
Yeah.
We're here. I don't need this brand supremacy. Like bragging rights didn't work out. You got 2-3 years out of that pay-per-view. Why did you have to transition it to one of your like traditional big four? But either way.
And to be honest, it means nothing.
Yeah, it's lost its appeal. I mean, I'm all for a good old school traditional Survivor Series where they're mainly Survivor Series matches, maybe 1 or 2 title matches. But like now, like you said, it doesn't mean anything because we get like 3 weeks of them being like, we're going to beat you, blue brand. No, we're going to beat you, red brand. Whatever. Anyways, here's the card. We got the Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus the WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. See, that's the other thing. There's no like title. Like it's just champ versus champ. Which Drew McIntyre retained last night on Monday Night Raw. So very short stint of not being the champion. We're gonna get him and Roman Reigns, and then after this Sunday, everything goes back to normal. This is an interesting one because these two storylines where Drew McIntyre has just been this top dog, but then you got Roman who's literally saying he's like the chief and top dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, Dan. I'm with you. But I don't know. It's hard to see what storyline they're going to put over.
So what I think
is going to be Drew.
So here's what I feel is going to happen. I feel like Drew is probably going to lose, and he's going to lose, but there's going to be interference from Uso.
Yeah. Good call. Good call. Next we have and this is what I don't like. Next we have our men's Survivor Series matches. It is so Raw versus SmackDown. So you got Keith Lee, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, and Riddle versus Kevin Owens, Jey Uso, King Corbin, Seth Rollins, and 2BD. So obviously that's going to get filled probably Friday night. What do you think? Maybe Ray? Maybe Dominic? It sounds like Rollins is going away.
Yeah, Rollins is going to take some time off for family, which just good for him, and probably good for his character.
Yeah, he could use a little break. So, but how did they get him out though? Well, Buddy Murphy.
Who knows?
Take him out. I feel like Murphy or the Mysterios will get in there.
One of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's really fat. Thanks, Dan. He's so fat. I feel like a really bad cat owner.
I don't even know who wins, and to be honest, I don't think it makes any difference. I don't think it's gonna make or break anybody. To be honest with you.
No, it's not. I'm gonna say SmackDown wins. The Women's Survivor Series match, you got Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce, and Lana versus Bianca Belair, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and 2 more to be announced. So noticeable missing is wait, so is Dana Brooke out now too?
So
Mandy Rose was out because she's injured.
Oh, well then probably Dana Brooke is out.
So they now have Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce joining in, which Lacey Evans,
that's a whole nother story.
That's hilarious. I hate because I laugh because I read the comments on the side. So I read them and I laugh, but no one else knows what I'm laughing at. You're totally right. SmackDown wins. Fox is paying more. You're so right. That's hilarious. So I don't know who who they're gonna do on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, definitely Lana's got to go through the table.
I mean, again, I said this like 2 weeks ago, but at this point, it'd just be weird if she doesn't.
Yeah.
And at the end, and there's just no way you can legitimately have her come over. Like, how are you going to have her actually go over on Nia Jax?
Never.
It's not going to happen.
Never.
Because then you would have to do something with her.
The only thing I wonder is, and I haven't heard anything, so what makes me sometimes think maybe since I haven't heard anything, maybe they're doing a good job of keeping it quiet. Do you think Charlotte might come back?
Maybe. I still think she's coming back at Rumble, but maybe.
Okay. Yeah, Rumble makes sense too, but who knows?
Asuka versus Sasha, champion versus champion. Then we got the New Day versus the Street Profits, which I think potentially could be probably the best match of that show.
Although Asuka and Sasha is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, Asuka and Sasha is going to be pretty good, but I feel like we've seen it a few times already.
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, which I feel like could also be a decent match. So this is also so the whole Undertaker's final farewell, which is weird because there's already rumors that they're trying to get him for Mania. I guess I don't know. I don't know. It all feels so forced. You know what I mean?
We said this last week, and I honestly I kind of feel like this. It's like AEW made a big deal out of Jericho and his 30th anniversary, and I feel like AEW or WWE somehow is probably, even though they say they're not competing, I feel like they have to say, well, we have a star who's been here for 30 years. And you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, pissed at her for Rusev. Yeah, I mean that's probably it too. But the thing is, though, like I don't think they could do that to anybody else. Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, that's true too. What were you saying though?
Oh, I was just saying. I feel like WWE, even though they say they're not competing, feels like we've got a icon that's been here for 35 years. He's a bigger icon than Chris Jericho. And see, I feel like somehow Vince is the kind of guy that would get in that kind of a pissing match. And that's
yeah, maybe. I see. The only reason why I don't kind of think that's totally it is just because it was already kind of known that Vince wasn't happy that he kind of basically announced his retirement at the end of the documentary. Like,
well,
he didn't do that. The other thing too is, I don't know. I mean, in all reality, though, like, it is something that should be celebrated. 30 years of Undertaker.
Oh, definitely.
And he did debut 30 years ago at Survivor Series. So I get it. And I get that, like, we always knew we were going to get something with him in the ring. There was no way Vince would not do something for him in the ring.
Right. Our biggest dick at the preschool.
So like, I get it. I thought they would honestly wait to do something like this till just either a Crowd or Mania, though.
Well, but see, they can't because
they're because I thought they'd wait till they induct him in the Hall of Fame and then bring him to Mania and make the big deal about it.
Yeah, but see, they're in a spot where they're still losing viewers, so they're trying to do things, and I understand it. It makes perfect sense, and I'm not, and just so you know, I'm not saying he's a bigger icon than Jericho just because, whatever. I'm just saying that in terms of Vince. Well, there you go. I mean, Jericho might almost weigh as much as me if he was tall as me. But the thing is, it's just I just feel like Vince is that kind of a thinker, even though it's not anywhere close. Jericho is one character. Taker is another, and they're not on the same level. They certainly are not on the same level, but in Vince's mind, them making a big deal out of a guy that we used to have.
But I wondered, though, when was the Jericho 30 years? How many weeks ago was that?
Yeah, 4 something.
Okay, because how long have they been doing this 30 days? Because to be honest, I think it actually almost lines up that they happened right around the same time, because they've been doing the 30 days on the network leading to the Survivor Series of like exclusive Taker content.
Yeah, maybe.
Because there's like, did they
see? You know what?
That's exactly it. That's what I'm saying. He's gonna come out of the Survivor Series. Next thing you know, it's gonna be like, I'm gonna fight in Mania.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be the interesting thing. Who's gonna be there? There's a lot of talk of some old timers coming out, a lot of talk of his old crew coming out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Are we going to get Taker in character? Is he going to actually like come out and not be in character? You know what I mean? Yeah. Was it Jericho turned 50 last week?
Yeah.
It is going to be interesting to see what they do, how it goes, how Taker does it. But again, too, like, everybody always thinks back to that Ric Flair retirement Raw after he lost the match to Michaels, and just and that's what everybody wants. And to be honest, not every talent's going to get that,
right?
But there are certain people who should get that, and
he's one of them.
And in all honesty, Flair and Taker are really the only ones that come off the top of my head that it's like, yeah, they could do that. You know what I mean? It's like Austin Rock. They all bowed out when it was their time. These guys kept going. So like, Flair ruined his by going to Impact, where, the only way Taker's going to ruin this is doing Mania. And that's not even ruin it, because again, like Matt said, this might all just be a setup to a Mania match.
Yeah. All I can say is this: if they do for him what they did for Flair, I would certainly. I'm not unhappy. My biggest concern is that I'm going to feel let down because they made a big deal out of it, and then it's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah, there's a chance. There's always a chance when it's WWE. But yeah, man. But hey, it'll be fun. And Flair still, I mean, poor guy. Like, some days it's just like, dude, you need to just chill out, man. Like,
hey, he can still. Now, look, here's a reality with Flair, and I'm taking anything away from him because this is smart. Every time the guy takes a bump, they just turn the lights out. Fuck, he can keep going 10 more years. Like when Orton kicked him in the head. Well, turn the lights out so I can kick him in the head. Perfect. Right. Excellent. You can. I mean, my God, you give him the pile driver. You can do anything you want to him as long as the lights are off.
Yeah,
and he can sell after. That's fine.
I think the bigger concern is he's going to go out drinking after the show and then just die.
Well, it's possible. It's possible.
That poor guy's like organs have to just be like, what the fuck, dude? You've ruined all of us. What the hell?
They can't happen. It can't happen.
So next week, should we just do our top 3 Survivor Series matches since it is Survivor Series week?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Top 3 Survivor Series matches.
All mine are going to be traditional Survivor Series matches, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not going to make up some bullshit.
Well, no, but I'm not going to pick any of like the single matches or anything.
It has to be an actual Survivor Series match.
Correct. So
by the rules.
Yeah,
as the rules were done.
That's what we'll do for next week.
Awesome. Well, perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We enjoyed having all of you watch with us. And participate with us. Thank you, Malice. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, everybody. You don't need to.
I know. Like, how does it? Like, I don't understand it either. I don't understand it. Beautiful. That or he got a new liver and just no one knows.
Well, it's just like they didn't want to tell people that they got COVID. They might just Rick's off for a couple of weeks. Putting in a new liver. Let him see how he can make out with that. Right. Anyway, all right, folks. Next Tuesday, 8 p.m., we'll talk about our favorite Survivor Series matches of all time. We hope you'll get a list together, come back and join us and discuss it, along with any headlines in wrestling that might happen to pop up. Thank you so much for watching with us. We appreciate it.
Please share it. Please share with all your friends.
Oh, yeah. By the way, share with all your friends. But by the way, do you have any, do you and Wes have a show this week?
We didn't do one last week, so my guess is we might have one this week. Get on our social media, Facebook and Twitter, just the Briscoe and Big A Show. You can find us, and probably tomorrow I'll know if we're going to do something.
Sounds good. Keep track of that, folks. I have no shows coming up in the near next 5 years. So that's always good. Thank you, Dan. Take care of yourself, buddy.
Take it easy, Dan.
But if I do get shows, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I will see you all here next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Take care. Bye-bye.